Hey man, what's going on, man? It's your boy Cal Get Some G back with another video, man. And today, you can tell by the thumbnail, you can tell by the title exactly what's going on, man. We are here with some more Gotham Knights related content. Now y'all are seeing this on Friday, man, October 21st. Unfortunately, I couldn't get an early copy of the game to actually have it out day one for y'all. But if everything goes as planned, episode 1 should be out on Saturday, October 22nd. And we already got ourselves prepared for the gameplay, you know what I'm saying? We played the DLC episodes on Arkham Knight, but now we're actually gonna take time to learn about each of these characters. I've been seeing comments saying I should look up the lore, you know, learn about Red Hood, Nightwing and all that, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here today. Big shout out to Gaming Bolt, man. They have videos dedicated to Gotham Knights for the lore of each playable character, man. We got 4 videos, man. They're all about 8 minutes long. Oh boy, what the frick, bro? Yuck, gosh. I don't think something, bro. So I'm transforming. I don't know what's happening to me. Something, my cerebellum, bro. Anyway, though, man, we're gonna be starting off with Batgirl, the full story before you play Gotham Knights. Let's get into it. All right, Gaming Bowl. Let's put captions on. Let's see.
The Dark Knight is supposedly dead in Gotham Knights. Right. We'll know in a few months exactly how true that is. But even though we're not going to be able to play as him, or so developer WB Games Montreal says,
that's
the
right.
Characters that are going to take center stage have plenty going on, which makes them compelling in their own right.
Look at them cakes!
Both in terms of story and gameplay possibilities.
Yeah.
Four
I can't wait
members
to play
of the
this
Bat
game,
family
bro.
will take the spotlight in the upcoming open-world action RPG.
We're going in
and
them all.
Here, we're going to focus entirely on Batgirl.
All right,
AKA
Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon.
Yes, sir. I know that much. I know
pretty much every major character in the Batman universe has a tragic past. The suffering and traumatic past events are far too common in anything and everything to do with Batman. But Barbara Gordon has most major characters beat on that front. And it's exactly that traumatic past and the way she seems to have recovered from it that makes her such an intriguing character in Gotham Knights.
Exactly, that's why she my main, bro.
The past we keep referring to, of course, is the encounter that paralyzes her and puts her in a wheelchair. The legendary graphic novel, The Killing Joke, widely regarded as one of the greatest Batman stories of all time.
Yeah, I always hear about
Barbara
that.
Gordon transition from her traditional role as Batgirl to something else.
So she
As the daughter of Gotham City's police commissioner, James Gordon, Barbara Gordon's path into crime fighting is easy to trace, as is her connection to Bruce Wayne. But in her early days, she was actually quite different from most of the characters surrounding her. While characters like Batman and Jim Gordon were tortured, brooding heroes,
I never played Arkham or
Barbara
Origins.
Gordon was much more upbeat.
Wow.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, man, nobody care about Rob! I was getting into it for real.
Of course, that all changed when she was attacked by the Joker in the aforementioned The Killing Joke.
Yep.
Though Barbara herself wasn't a major presence in the story, she ended up being a crucial plot device nonetheless.
I just want to know really how she got her legs back. I knew more about Batgirl and Robin, but I still want to see if there's anything I missed. Golly. That's so freaking messed up, bro. I hate that Joker, like, kind of cool. Like, he not cool, obviously, but... Oh, man, you can't hate the Joker all the way, bro. It's messed up. I remember playing this for the first time. I was like, bruh. That time, I didn't know anything about these characters. That girl said, yeah, so she was Batgirl before. Okay. Now, I didn't know which, you know, but it makes sense now.
With the Joker using her in his vendetta against Gordon and Batman by shooting her and rendering her paralyzed. Following that, Barbara is deeply depressed for quite some time, though eventually she adopts the Oracle persona. Though she is no longer capable of physically fighting criminals by Batman's side, as Oracle, she can still put her excellent intellect to use and provide crucial backup and behind-the-scenes support to his crime-fighting operations.
Big smarts.
This, incidentally, was the Oracle we saw in the Arkham games.
Yep.
Though Warner Bros. Also remains insistent that Gotham Knights is set in its own universe, and continuity...
That's another thing. Before we continue, I've seen a lot of comments when I was talking about the fighting styles of Arkham Knights and Gotham Knights. I know they're in different universes. I'm just comparing them anyway, you know what I'm saying? I would like Gotham Knights to have that fast speed, but I know they're different universes. I know it's different, bro. I get that.
Doesn't serve as a sequel to Arkham Knight. That, of course, means that there's plenty that WB Games Montreal can do with Barbara's backstory and history in the game without having to worry about any inconsistencies with past stories.
Big fresh.
And though we obviously won't know the full extent of that until we've played the game, Some crucial details about her past have been confirmed. We know that she was once Batgirl, but that a face-off with an enemy that hasn't been named, but is obviously the Joker, put her in a wheelchair, forcing her to adopt the Oracle persona and become the communications and intelligence expert for the Bat family.
So how's she kicking and punching and walking again?
We also know that James Gordon is supposedly dead in Gotham Knights, having died sometime after Batman's supposed death. Interestingly, her father's death spurred Barbara to action, and she undertook extensive training and physical rehabilitation to return to fitness to the extent that she's now returned to the Batgirl persona. That means that she's not fully capable of putting all of her considerable physical skills to use, while also having all of her hacking and technological skills at her disposal from her Oracle days.
And remember, like, on it was one gameplay we had watched. Hopefully I can find a picture or something. But she had, like, something around her waist or something, it looked like. That was probably to help, you know, kind of like War Machine on, after Civil War when he got shot out the sky and all that. Infinity War, he had, like, the legs and stuff to help him, because he was paralyzed, too.
There's a lot to unpack here. In terms of gameplay, having a Batman-esque character who's also an expert when it comes to hacking and technology can make for an interesting take
on what's
become a well-worn gameplay style. Gotham Knights is going to have plenty of similarities to the Arkham games where combat, stealth, and traversal are concerned, and Batgirl is perhaps going to be the closest to how Batman used to play in those games.
And I feel like Gotham Knights is going to be easy with combat as well.
Technological capabilities potentially being an interesting wrinkle in that loop. Beyond that, however, especially from a story perspective, Barbara Gordon's history in Gotham Knights raises some interesting questions. Like, was it the Joker who paralyzed this rendition of the character as well?
It would have to be.
Or is developer WB Games Montreal going to play around with a well-known story and change some crucial elements? Like who put Barbara in a wheelchair? To make it more integral to the game's story.
Let me stop.
For instance, could the Court of Owls, which is the villainous organization taking center stage in the game, have had something to do with what happened to Barbara in the past? Of course, the most interesting questions her backstory in Gotham Knights raises have to do with her father, Jim Gordon. More specifically, with the fact that he's supposedly dead.
Right.
Obviously, there's no shortage of people who are skeptical about Gordon being dead, as they are about Bruce Wayne being dead. But even if we assume that their deaths were faked for some reason or another, we're still left with a lot of questions. What caused Gordon's supposed death? The Court of Owls, presumably? Is he going to come back at some point? Will rescuing him become a pivotal part of the story and, in turn, of Barbara's own personal arc throughout the game?
People in these theories, bro, talking about how Bruce is the main head.
Seeing as the personal stakes for one of the main playable characters would be so much higher in that scenario.
That would be wild if Bruce ends up being one of the main people.
How, or if the game decides to deal with Barbara's struggles with her injuries, and how she managed to get past them.
Right.
There's no shortage of people out there who feel very strongly that Barbara Gordon's character was treated poorly and is little more than a plot device in The Killing Joke. So to see her pulling herself back up and getting back into the action is pretty heartening, to say the least. If, however, the game decides to dive deeper into that, her recovery and rehabilitation could become that much more meaningful, and leave quite an imprint on her personal arc.
We'll see, man. We'll see. We will see.
One way or another, it's clear that there's plenty going on with Batgirl.
Is there going to be like side stuff,
side missions? Her past has been filled with ups and downs, to say the least, and Gotham Knights is not only making use of that past for its own story, it's also adding to it with James Gordon's supposed death, Barbara's subsequent recovery, and her transition from Oracle back into Batgirl.
Yes, sir. How you be Batgirl, get shot, get paralyzed, become an Oracle, then be Batgirl again?
She might just be one of the more interesting characters in the game. Of course, we're going to reserve judgment until we've played the game, because whether or not WB Games Montreal can make good on the potential here depends entirely on how the game decides to tell its story.
I might wear that.
But Batman fans have every reason to be intrigued by how Gotham Knights is handling Batgirl's character, and where her own story could be headed in the game.
All right. Okay.
Did you know? We at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day.
Man, I don't care. I'm just playing, bro. Shout out to Gaming Bolt. But okay, that was Batgirl. Now, a lot of that, honestly, most of that I already knew. If they were just going to do, it says the full story, but if that was it, then I already knew that, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know about her, you know, strengthening herself back up to be Batgirl again, but Now we know that's how we did it, and maybe she does wear some type of support thing around her waist or on her legs or something like that. But yeah, Batgirl is definitely gonna be my main. Like episode 1, bro, we're playing as her first, and I'll do Robin. Then y'all just keep going back and forth, and then most of the episodes will be Batgirl though. All right, next up is Robin, Tim Drake. And I always, cause there's a lot of Robins that got killed. Like this one obviously isn't his son. Bruce Wayne's son, Robin was Thomas
Over
Wayne?
the decades,
Damian Wayne.
many characters
Damon.
have taken up the mantle of Robin and
Right.
assisted the Dark Knight in his fight against crime in Gotham.
Explain to me.
But
Explain
of
to
them
me.
all, Tim Drake is
Dominic.
probably the most unique, and for several reasons. Unlike most other characters in the Batman universe, he is motivated not by a tragic past or traumatic personal losses, but by an inherent drive to do what is right.
Ugh.
And
Big
unlike
justice.
other Robins, Tim Drake is very similar to Batman, almost to the point of seeming like his most natural successor.
Exactly. That's why Batgirl and Robin, they just think,
Given
bro, come on
Gotham
now.
Knights' central premise, which claims that the Batman is dead and that a team of his former wards is left to pick up the pieces and continue his fight against crime in his absence, it makes sense why WB Games decided to include Tim Drake as one of the game's 4 main playable characters. Ahead of the open-world action RPG's launch in October, later this year, we've been looking individually at each of the game's main characters one by one.
I just watched
And here,
Batgirls. It was
we'll
a
be
fire
talking
vid.
about the game's version of The Boy Wonder.
Yes, sir. Big
I'm
boy
sorry,
wonder.
Bruce, but it's the only way.
I know, Tim.
I
I'll
hated
stop
that skit in
Scarecrow.
Arkham Knight though, bro. I had to put on a different outfit for you.
Master Bruce, I'm reading multiple militia forces converging at your location. It's the Arkham Knight. He's found you.
I'll take care of it, Alfred.
Interestingly, even though a personal traumatic loss isn't the central impetus
Yeah,
for
bro.
Tim's crime-fighting activities, his earliest association with the Batman is still tied to a tragic incident. Dick Grayson,
Oh, yeah,
once a
because-
member of an acrobat family that performs in the circus, loses his parents before a performance in a deadly attack, for which Bruce Wayne himself is also present as a witness.
So that's why Nightwing
That is what
so
ultimately
daggone
leads to him being taken in as
flippity-flippity.
Bruce's adoptive son and eventually becoming Robin, and later Nightwing. But the
Okay.
incident is
So he
Tim's
was a
earliest
Robin once,
interaction
too.
with the two as well, because that's where he first meets both Bruce and Dick.
So like, and I was about to say, because I remember this part on Arkham Knight when Batman and Robin was going through the Joker part, or Harley, getting Harley or something, and they kept getting those flashbacks of when Joker killed one of them. They had a Robin
Where are they?
tied up in a chair, and I was like,
They're Joker.
Batman didn't save him or something like that.
And they ain't leaving this
I
place
don't know.
until you're a
Maybe they'll
corpse.
explain here.
How did she find us? How did she get in?
I'd let him know if I were you. He's not always in such a good mood.
Right? You
One
lucky
of
your
Tim's
bone's
greatest
still intact,
abilities
bro.
is his impressive intellect and his excellent deduction reasoning, which helps him eventually become a detective on par with Batman himself. Sometime after the circus incident, it's that sharp brain and his keen powers of observation that help him figure out the true identities of the crime-fighting duo that protects Gotham City. And once he figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman and Dick Grayson is Robin, he begins following their exploits closely. Years later, after Jason Todd's death, Tim realizes that Batman is becoming increasingly reckless and violent, following which he tries to pursue Dick Grayson, who has become Nightwing by that point, into going back to Bruce Wayne. According to Tim, Batman needs a Robin to keep him on track
Jason
and in check.
Todd.
That combined with the fact that Dick refuses to take up the Robin mantle again. This leads to Tim deciding to do what's needed himself. One thing leads to another, and eventually, Bruce allows Tim Drake to become the third Robin.
Jason
Of course,
Todd is
that
Red Hood,
comes
isn't
with
he?
extreme training, and the new Robin does become extremely
died?
capable in more ways than one. From stealthy tactics and hand-to-hand combat to using a variety of gadgets, which are all the way you'd expect a hero in the Bat family to be a cut above the others. In spite of all this, Tim's greatest asset remains his intellect and his detective skills, which in more ways than one makes him more like the Dark Knight than any of the previous Robins.
From
From
a
a
we finna
gameplay
go in for
perspective,
real, bro.
there's still plenty that we don't know about how Robin is going to play, especially
Fire.
compared to the other
Simple
three
as that.
characters, who have had substantial showings and reveals in the lead up to the game's
I
launch.
saw he has a move called
But
Wrath
of
where he can
course,
put
we're
fear
hoping to
into
learn
his,
more
into
in the
his
coming
enemies'
weeks
hearts.
and months.
Make them scared a little.
Something else that sets him apart from Dick Grayson and Jason Todd is the fact that, as mentioned previously, he isn't motivated by a personal
I
loss or
remember
the
her.
need for revenge or
good
anything
along.
along those lines. Not too long after he takes up the Ramen mantle,
ramen.
Tim gets a bitter taste of collateral damage when his parents get captured by a certain villain known as the Obi-Man. That in turn leads to the death of Tim's mother, while his father is paralyzed and put into a coma. Still in his early teens at this point, Bruce Wayne is worried that Tim won't react to the incident very well and might end up losing himself to his need for vengeance, the same way that Jason Todd did. But more than anything else, his personal loss drives the new Robin to do what's right more than ever.
So is Tim Drake the best Robin? I don't know all of them.
All four of Gotham Knights' main playable characters are doing what they're doing for different reasons. But they are driven first and foremost by the apparent death of Bruce Wayne. With Tim Drake, however, it'll be interesting to see how he responds to the situation, because if his characterization is true to the source material, we'll end up seeing a character who is fighting against the criminal underbelly of Gotham not because he feels he owes it to the dead Batman the way his companions do,
oh, we finna go win with Robin.
Now more than ever, rooting out the decay and corruption at the heart of the city is the right thing to do. At the same time, it might also be interesting to see someone like Obi-Man come into the story at some point and see how Tim reacts to his presence. Bringing a specific villain in that challenges Tim and his views on a personal fundamental level could be a great way to develop his character convincingly and advance his personal arc. Tim Drake's relationship and dynamic with the other three members of the Bat family should also make for some interesting narrative threads in the game. We've already touched on the relationships with Dick Grayson, and it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic between the two characters is portrayed in the game. Dick and Tim have often been closely associated in DC Comics over the years, and Gotham Knight's portrayal of the particular relationship should be quite intriguing. In an ideal scenario, at the very least. Seems like he's the
youngest on the team, Tim Drake.
When Gotham Knight's story kicks off, Tim is the youngest ever Robin.
Okay.
And as the original Robin, Dick Grayson might end up becoming something of a mentor to him throughout the course of the game. Just as interesting, if not more so, will be the dynamic between Tim and Jason Todd. From their temperaments to their relationships with Bruce Wayne,
so how the freak
both characters are quite often diametrically opposed from one another. The two have, meanwhile, also locked horns with one another on a few occasions over the years. Is that something that we'll see in Gotham Knights as well?
Maybe.
It would certainly make for some interesting drama, so we wouldn't be against
Red Hood DLC.
Of course, Tim's own personal arc, irrespective of the characters surrounding him, is something else we're intrigued by. He's often been positioned as Batman's natural successor, and that may very well end up being a crucial part of the arc in Gotham Knights. Whether or not we see him become Red Robin by the time the game comes to an end remains to be seen. But we're still excited to see where his story goes and where it ultimately ends up.
I'm new, bro. I'm new. Okay.
Did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos
I did, bro.
every
You said
day?
that last time. Okay, so this one was way more interested in Batgirls because it's a lot I didn't know, man. The whole different Robin situation, Jason Todd being a Robin and dying. I do remember when we were watching some Gotham Knights gameplay, man, and Jason Todd said something about when the Joker killed him or something like that. So he get revived, or was he on the brink of death and came back, or did he like die for a second or something, came back? Like, what was the case with that? Like, I didn't know they had sensu beans in DC Universe, but I guess we're gonna find out. Before we do that though, let's check out Nightwings, man. We're gonna save Red Hoods for last.
Whether or not Batman is actually dead in Gotham Knights remains to be seen. A good number of people out there would be willing to bet that he absolutely isn't dead, and will certainly be making an appearance, but one way or another,
I think
fans
of
the DC property will be glad that Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, is going to have a crucial role to play in the game. Yes, Jason Todd has a fascinating backstory and is a complex personality. Yeah, Barbara Gordon's recovery from her traumatic past makes her inherently more engaging as a character than most others. Yes, Tim Drake's inherent integrity and goodness make him the natural successor to the Caped Crusader. But without Dick Grayson, the original Robin, frankly, none of these characters would even exist.
He is
the original, and as such, a big fan favorite.
Let me hit him, please.
I thought, so the one in the comics with the little tidy, but that was always been Dick Grayson, bro? He the OG?
It's just his face.
Alright then.
So
I did not know that.
hittable.
Gotham Knights developer WB Games Montreal will, of course, have the freedom to change things up with Dick Grayson's character and his backstory as and when they need, seeing as the game is set in its own continuity and isn't beholden to any past stories. But sure enough, it is still using well-worn elements of the character's past.
Yeah, that's that circus.
Once a member of a traveling family of acrobats that used to perform in the circus, Dick's parents were killed in an attack by a mafia boss named Tony Zuko, who was trying to extort money from the circus. Like many other members of the Bat family, a traumatic loss at a young age served to forge Dick's character and shape his destiny.
Bruce low-key put a curse on every Bat family member,
Bruce Wayne, who was in attendance at the circus that day, decided to secretly take him in as a ward, and the rest was history. The boy eventually went on to become the Boy Wonder, the first Robin.
That's crazy.
That, of course, will not be the role he will occupy in Gotham Knights, though, seeing as how the game is going to feature Tim Drake, the third Robin, as one of its 4 playable characters as well. Instead, Dick Grayson will set into the limelight wearing what many would argue is a much cooler cowl.
Nightwing.
As he grows older,
I like that colorway.
Weary of being little more than Batman's sidekick and wants to do some good on his own and leave a stronger mark on his fight against crime. Dick adopts his own new persona, going on to become known as Nightwing.
Yes, sir.
This is how we will see him in Gotham Knights as well.
I'm looking forward to playing as Nightwing, though. I gotta be honest. He's pretty
on my
fire.
swing. Watch and learn. Gonna knock his head right out of
He ain't gonna do nothing. Look at you. Got hit with it. Yeah, I'm Daredevil. No, let me stop. I'm not doing that, bro.
Don't worry.
You ain't Daredevil. I like your game. You cool, but, bro, it's Big Marvel for life. Stop. Golly. Boy, Batman.
His portrayal in the game is going to be fascinating to witness for fans of the character and the source material for multiple reasons. For starters, from a gameplay perspective, he promises to be an exciting character. For those who are simply looking for more brawler-esque action similar to the Arkham Knight games based on what we've seen so far, Nightwing is going to have plenty of similarities to how Batman played in those games. Not only in combat, but also in stealth capabilities, his detective vision-esque abilities, and more.
I like the long-haired Nightwing.
But there's still enough there to set him apart, with his 2 Eskrima sticks serving as his primary weapons, and the emphasis that combat with him puts on elemental attacks against enemies, and using that to your tactical advantage. Meanwhile, traversal with Nightwing will see him using a trapeze to glide around the city, which is not only a neat little nod to his background as a performer and an acrobat, but should also be quite enjoyable from a pure and simple gameplay perspective.
Because of Fortnite.
From a narrative point of view, meanwhile, there's plenty more reasons to look forward to the role he will play in Gotham Knight's story.
We only got
all
Batman,
4 members of the
Catwoman,
Bat
Joker.
family are going to be dealing with Bruce Wayne's apparent death in different ways. And it goes without saying that the void that he leaves behind will leave them in desperate need of leadership. And one of Dick Grayson's many strengths is his natural leadership. Though he starts out his crime-fighting career as Batman's sidekick, he evolves into so much more over time. He becomes Nightwing and takes on a major leadership role in the superhero group known as the Teen Titans.
Oh yeah! I think I even already knew that. We need a Teen Titans game, bro, with like Gotham Knights type of graphics and open world, like the same thing with Teen Titans. That would be heat.
This is the last time.
Raven and Beast and all them, bro. Cyborg and all them, bro.
Nothing stops you.
Keep Bloodhaven safe.
Ooh, a Teen Titans game would be heat.
Promise me.
It's okay, Bruce. I get it. You just don't want me hanging around, stealing the limelight.
Dick.
I won't let you down.
And he's out of here.
I know.
Whether or not the Teen Titans have any role to play in Gotham Knights remains to be seen. We wouldn't be surprised to see cameo appearances here and there from the likes of Cyborg, Starfire, Red Arrow, and what have you.
That would be kind of fire, bro.
The point.
Imagine.
The point is that Nightwing has more than enough experience with leadership and will serve an important role for members of the Bat family in Bruce Wayne's absence.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
yeah,
on top of that, Dick Grayson's relationship with other members of the Bat family should also make for some compelling storytelling.
Looking forward to playing as Nightwing.
His successor in the Robin role, Jason Todd, who is Red Hood in Gotham Knights, is in many ways the polar opposite of him, and the two have always shared a complicated relationship. Tim Drake, meanwhile, is something of a ward to Nightwing, and has always looked up to the original Robin since his younger days. Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson, meanwhile, go back a ways and have been through quite a lot together. It's clear to see that he's going to be the glue holding this group together, though exactly how well he does that is what we're curious to see.
Seems like it may be kind of shaky, like on some
has been associated with several other things over the decades that may or may not find their way into Gotham Knights as well. For instance, as Nightwing, he has been most commonly associated with the city of Bloodhaven, and has been its protector much in the same way Batman has been for Gotham. Gotham Knights is, of course, set in the titular city. But will Bloodhaven have some role to play?
Never know. It could. You never know.
Why he left his city and returned to Gotham?
We might get expansion DLC.
Because of Bruce Wayne's death?
Teen Titans.
Because many will
expansion
tell you
DLC.
that that shouldn't be enough. Especially since Gotham has 3 other heroes that are willing to protect it from the criminal element in Batman's absence.
Man, I can't wait to play this tomorrow. It's going down tomorrow,
Dick
bro.
Grayson has on occasion also taken up the mantle of Batman himself in his former mentor's absence in various comic arcs. Is that something that we'll get to see in Gotham Knights as well? If the Cape Crusader is indeed dead, and that's a big if, and the heroes left behind to pick up the pieces decide that the city simply needs a Batman running around and beating criminals
You
to
know
a
what?
pulp, who better to ultimately take up the cape and cowl than that very first member of the Bat family? Could that be how Dick Grayson's personal arc ends in Gotham Knights?
I feel like
Regardless of whether or not that happens, there's little doubt in anyone's
Oh,
mind
the
that he
ponytail?
should
Was
be
that
the
like a-
highlight of the game.
that fit might be
At
kind of that
least
might be
in
my
ideal
one.
circumstances. As the original Robin, the most experienced member of the Bat family in Batman's absence, and the
Okay.
charismatic leader of the
All
core
right.
group of 4 heroes that will take center stage in the game,
I gotta put
he
respect on
promises to be a
Nightwing name,
fascinating
bro.
character. Whether or not he
all
lives
right.
up to that promise, that remains to be seen. Thankfully, with Gotham Knights launching in October, we won't have to wait too long to find out.
Right, tomorrow, bro. Tomorrow, bro. All right, I'm definitely putting respect on Nightwing name, bro. I did not know that much about him, man. Okay, the OG Robin, bro. With the most experience, you know what I'm saying? Leader of the Teen Titans, Blue Haven, you know what I'm saying? He do this for real, okay? Yeah, I can't wait to see how they're gonna do that with Gotham Knights, having him kind of be the leader again, of if he can get everything under control with these relationships with everybody, with Bruce being there. And I was about to say, I think Bruce, I was saying that the people in the theories at the quarter hours, I feel like that would be cool, but I feel like they are gonna have Bruce and Jim be dead for good, so they can set up the Bat family, you know what I'm saying, to have it really focus on them. Maybe at the end of the game they'll show how Batman died, or we'll have another message or something, but who knows, man. But Nightwing, big respect, homie. Last but not least, we got Red Hood, Jason Todd.
Gotham Knights
Let's
is going
learn
to
about
allow
it.
players to step into the shoes of 4 members of the Bat family.
Uh-huh.
And though they're all fan favorites in their own rights and have interesting backstories and histories, probably the one that stands out as the most fascinating character of the bunch is Jason Todd.
Yeah, he the one that,
That,
I like.
after all,
what's
has
your deal,
kind
bro?
of been the point of this character for almost as long as he's been around, going all the way back to his early days in the DC Comics. That he stands out from the crowd for some reason or other, for better or for worse.
He killed people.
Gotham
can't see
Knights
him
has,
being a
of
Robin.
course, set in its own continuity, which means the Jason Todd we see in the
More
game
like a ninja
isn't going
turtle.
to be the same Jason
Ninja?
Todd we've seen before in comics or elsewhere, like, say for instance, Batman Arkham
Oh
Knight.
yeah.
really have no idea. Do you, Bruce?
He was the one that got killed by Joker, or
So we don't know what exactly the backstory and history of this particular rendition of the character is going to be. We can, however, look at the character's general history over the years and try and make some educated guesses about where he could be heading in Gotham Knights. One thing that Jason Todd is going to have in common with the DC Comics source material that fans have come to know and love is his brush with death. That's a core component of the character at this point. So it's not surprising that WB Games Montreal's take on the character is going to revolve around that as well.
okay.
How exactly Jason Todd died in Gotham Knights' universe remains unknown.
I think it's the
Do know
Joker,
that
right?
he
Because
got brought back to life courtesy of the League of Shadows' Lazarus Pit,
whoa,
which is something that has been commonly associated with the character over the years.
the frick is that? That sounds
After that,
demonic, bro.
He came back to Gotham
Lazarus
City
Pit.
at some point and adopted the Red Hood persona.
Hey yo. Hey yo. You know what? I didn't even think about this. If they really are using sensu beans and Lazarus. Batman expansion DLC, bro. I don't know the full story of the Lazarus Pit, but if they do talk about that in the game with Red Hood, I don't know. I feel like the Gotham Knights graphics, but playing as Bruce Wayne, Batman himself would be heat. Let's revive Batman in the DLC, bro. Come on now.
Are you? Not yet, Dark Knight.
Arkham Knight was so fire. I didn't like the Batmobile missions though. Yeah, this scene is
There
what I
are
was
several
talking about. So
questions
this
that
is
bear
Jason
asking.
Todd right here. This is
For instance,
wow.
can we assume that it was the Joker who killed Jason before he got brought back to life? That's been the character's most infamous moment throughout DC history, and it's been used in stories time and time
Golly.
again over the years. Obviously, the Jason Todd we're seeing in Gotham Knights isn't the misguided, vengeful person he's been often portrayed as in stories.
It
So
seemed
we
like
can
he
assume
used
that
to
the
be though,
story won't
because
head in that direction.
I think he used to be. I'm sorry for pausing a lot, but Jason Todd is kind of interesting because if y'all saw the launch trailer for Gotham Knights, matter of fact, let me just pull it up. Right here, when they talk about Red Hood, bro, obviously, look at that. Godly, you know what I'm saying? And look, he ready to kill him. And he says a monster. So I think this Gotham Knights version of Red Hood already went through that vengefulness, like my dude Dominic was saying over at Gaming Boat, man. So maybe this is a Red Hood after. I don't know if that's how it happened in the comics, but maybe you already went through that and you trying to kind of redeem. Like, you was Robin, you got killed by Joker, then you was vengeful, all the killing and all that, kind of how we saw him in the Arkham Knight DLC when he went after the racist Black Mask. And then I guess we got this version of Red Hood, you're just trying to do better and do right, because he was ready to blast this dude, bro. Let's get back into this though.
Brutal encounter with the Clown Prince of Gotham could still be an important part of his backstory.
Have you got something to tell the nice man, Jason?
My name is Jason Todd.
Who do you hate?
Batman.
Excellent. Of course you do. Did you get that, Bats?
It does very much seem like
Joker's so
Jason has
ugly, bro.
reconciled with the Bat family in Gotham Knights, which is interesting for several reasons. He's still donning his Red Hood mask, or hood, and is still adopting that persona for crime-fighting purposes. But he seems to be going about it in a different way than what the Red Hood has generally been known for, as most DC fans can tell you. One of the things that has usually set him apart from the rest of the Bat family is his willingness to use lethal force when necessary.
Right.
And, quite often, even when it isn't necessary.
That boy out
Jason
here.
Todd has resorted to excessive violence with some regularity throughout his history. And that's something that stretches back to before his Red Hood days, even back when he was still under Bruce Wayne's wing as the second Robin.
So he always
When
just
he
kind
came
of
back
had
as the Red Hood,
itch
he was full on
to take a
anti-hero.
life.
And he was combining all the physical training he'd received from the Dark Knight himself with his own tendency to use firearms and lethal weapons as when needed. Or not needed.
I have a challenge for all
Bro,
of you.
Mr. Beast, don't ever try to jump scare me like that, bro.
Clearly, he's not doing that in Gotham Knights. The weapons and gadgets he's using all seem to be non-lethal.
They say non-lethal,
and he seems
bro.
to be following
That
the
gameplay,
whole no-killing shtick that the
them
Bat
guns
family is
sound
so fond
freaking
of, even though Batman
big
himself is
damage,
supposedly
bro.
dead. Will the game's story delve into the particular aspect of his arc and tell us how he came around on that specific point? Was it Batman's supposed death that forced him to drop his previous methods and work with other members of the Bat family?
We may see them not even
or was
like
that the leaf that he had turned
together
over
in the beginning of the
before
game.
his mentor was killed? We sure hope we get the answers to these questions, because it could make for some good storytelling drama. Of course, what's particularly interesting about WB Games Montreal's rendition of Jason Todd is that it isn't just rehashing old and well-worn stories. There's some stuff about him that's very new, and in turn, quite interesting. It's also something that's proven controversial among several fans since it was first revealed.
What is that?
Like Batman and other members of the Bat family, the Red Hood has never had any actual superpowers, even in spite of the fact he was literally brought back from death. The only weapons he's ever had at his disposal are his training, his own peak physical condition, and any actual weapons and gadgets he can scrounge up and use.
So he just do this
He's a
for real. He's like
relatively
the Punisher.
grounded character in the same way Batman is, though like every comic book character, that groundedness only goes so far. In Gotham Knights, however, it seems like Jason Todd may very well be the least grounded character among the cast. That's because the Lazarus Pit seems to have given him some special abilities.
Oh yeah, that
during
the
a recent
mystic
gameplay stream,
traversal thing.
we found out that while other characters will traverse and glide around Gotham City using real-world tools and gadgets, or as close to real-world as they could get without being questioned out of existence, the Red Hood is going to literally just jump around and walk on thin air. According to WB Games Montreal, who are calling this ability the Mystic Leap. He's using his soul energy to propel himself upward.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
We really liked the idea that as Jason starts to confront the trauma of dying and being brought back, he begins to be able to tap into some sort of lost ability. Creative director Patrick Redding said during a recent QA with fans, in the same way that he's tried to reinvent himself from anti-hero to hero while retraining his strengths, he discovers he can channel these mystic talents in ways that he finds familiar, through his physicality and in how he moves. but
Okay.
also in how
I
he
feel
fights
like
and even how he uses his weapons.
a fully upgraded Red
That
Hood
least
gonna
bit
be
in
fire.
particular is interesting.
Okay, I gotta
That
play
it's
as
not
him
just
too.
traversal, but also combat that'll see the effects of Jason Todd's tryst with the Lazarus Pit. We'll see that the Mystic Leap is just one manifestation of these powers, Redding teased. That might be something that purists will balk at, but depending on how convincingly Gotham Knights sells us on the idea that the Red Hood used supernatural powers and how well that idea is executed, not only in story but also in terms of gameplay mechanics, it might actually turn out a great thing. Thankfully,
Gameplay with the
Gotham
guns is
Knights
pretty
is launching
fire.
not long from now,
I
which
like
means
the
we
fight,
won't
but
have to wait awfully long to find out what it
the
does
shooting
with
cool.
Jason Todd. One thing that we can be assured of, however, is that in all likeliness, he's going to be a fascinating character to witness.
I believe so. I
He
believe
usually
so.
is in most stories that he's involved in.
Yeah, yeah.
And while there are no
That Arkham
guarantees that this
episode
will
was
happen
bussin'.
here as well, things would have to go very, very wrong for Jason Todd to be less than interesting. Hopefully, that won't be the case.
All right. Okay, y'all. Okay. I mess with Red Hood, you know what I'm saying? That Arkham episode, we must have got him in between. Definitely after Robin, and maybe after he already got killed or right before, because they said he went through like the whole anti-hero thing before he was even Red Hood. So, okay, bro. I think they were calling him the Red Hood there, though. So he was maybe the Red Hood, but maybe it was before he was... Obviously, it was before he was on his goodness, man. Because, shoot, the Arkham Knight story, he was Arkham Knight, but... I don't know. This was fire, though. This was fire. I'm looking forward to playing as Red Hood and learning more about him in the actual game when it releases. We're going in tomorrow. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to start this game, bro. Overall, out of all of these videos right here, Batgirl, I'm not going to say it was my least favorite because she's going to be my #1 main regardless. You know what I'm saying? Her and Robin. But least favorite out of these videos, because everything that we kind of talking about in Batgirl's video, I did already know. Robin's was interesting, knowing that he's a third Robin, and there's more Robins, right? Because I know Batman had a son that was a Robin, right? And he was on the Teen Titans too, was it? Or was that Team Drake? See, I don't know about all of that, but Nightwings and Red Hoods, the people I didn't know about the most, man, they were interesting, man. I got big respect for Nightwing. Red Hood, I want to learn more about him, man. After this, I have a sense of, I don't know, a sense of he do this, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Red Hood do this for real. But yeah, man, this was just a little video, man, getting us extra prepared for Gotham Knights. We already played as the playable characters over in Batman Arkham Knight. Now we know more about them, and yeah, now it's just left up to us to play them in the actual game. So with that being said, man, if everything goes according to my plan, episode 1 of Gotham Knights should be out Saturday, October 22nd at 2 p.m. I'm gonna try to have it premiering. It won't be a live stream, it's gonna be a premiere, and yeah, we're gonna keep going on from there. Try to be daily. We have Resident Evil coming out October 28th, God of War 2 or God of War Ragnarok coming out November the 9th, man. So we got a lot of stuff coming up, but we're gonna be focusing a lot on Gotham Knights for the time being, man. But with that being said, I'm gonna end this up. If you enjoyed any part of this video, man, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell so you know when I'm posting, man. Share the content, share the channel, do all of that. I'll see y'all in the next one. It's your boy KSMG. Peace.